The fact that you need a government-issued ID doesn't bother me that much because I have like 3. So I understand the fact they want confirmed registered citizens and voters to be the ones voting. It seems a little excessive to do it that way, but it's not really my call to make.
I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but I wouldn't think it would be that much of an important thing as long as, you know, your student ID should be enough.
I don't recognize why student IDs are not being allowed to as a form of identification. The biggest change that's occurred sort of statewide is the change with regards to voter ID. And individuals, in order to vote right now, to vote in the next election, will have to have some type of photo ID.
Since we go to a public university, those IDs are technically considered government cards. Just like a military, if you're in the military and you have a military ID, that's a government issued card. So I don't understand why we can't use it.
I feel like less people are going to vote now, so it's going to be harder to get what people really want in the community.
The more difficult you make it for individuals to vote, the less likely they are going to vote. Very few people vote absentee. So for students who they don't think they can vote here on campus, if that means they have to vote absentee or they have to drive home to vote, the chances are they're just not going to vote. The other issue that's more directly affecting us is the decision by our local board of elections to close down the polls here on campus, and also to reduce the hours that are available for early voting.
The fact that they're moving it, that bothers me personally because I don't feel you get the representation that you would otherwise, and let's be honest here, that's very probably the intent.
They recognize that when you're talking about ASU students, when you're talking about the town voters, right, within the city limits, those students are much less likely to support Republican Party candidates. So they're going to do everything they can to prevent those voters from reaching the polls and being able to vote.
I don't think it's inherently evil. I just think they do have an agenda and they're trying to push it because they honestly feel that their agenda is right.
Whether they like it or not, we are part of Watauga. We are an important, voice. So even if we're only going to be here for 4 or 5 years, it shouldn't matter.
The youth are a very big decider of our government now. So I think that they're trying to stop that from happening because most of the government is very conservative and most students tend to be liberal.
I think a lot of the reason that any students voted to begin with is because, hey, holy crap, it's right here in Sanford Mall. I can just do this in my 10 minutes between class, especially if I'm already registered. Now that it's 20 minutes off campus and you need either a car, a friend with a car, or just the intestinal fortitude to walk, a lot of people aren't going to do it.
It makes everything difficult for everyone because I was told that we're only having one area to vote and there's only 35 parking spaces and it's a far walk. And now we're going to have to all vote in this one tiny area on a certain amount of days. It's just going to make it difficult for everybody.
The long-term implications are really serious. Political science research shows, right, if you prevent people from voting or you put roadblocks to students and to young people voting during this period, right, it is a critical period in your lives. And if you don't get engaged now, the chances of you becoming engaged when you're 25, 26, and as you get older are less and less.
It's the first time I can vote, and even if it's incredibly hard to do it, I don't care. It's my first time voting. I want to vote. I don't care if it's the hardest thing to do. I wouldn't even care if I had to pay. I would do it.
We've turned into one of those other states that don't encourage voting, that puts up roadblocks and sort of sees it as just a tool to attain power or maintain power for those currently governing.